Good afternoon guys, welcome back to part 2 of Dave's second on-course assessment. 2 over currently,
yeah,
so we had a good first 5 holes, playing quite well. We're here on the 6th now, we are off the white tees this time, so this hole's playing 178 yards. I think this is the first hole that's actually downwind, Dave.
Yeah,
it's a bit
managed it, but
the wind always swirls around here and it's something we need to take into account. So when you play guys, make sure you focus on what the wind's doing. It can change, so make sure you're on top of that. How many times I see people under club or over club because they think it's still into the wind and it's switched round. So here, 178 yards, Dave, downwind, so we're playing a 170 shot. So what are you thinking for that?
it would be between my 5 and 4 hybrid.
Between his 5 and 4 hybrid. So on this hole, although there is water left, but we're not taking that into account, short's not bad. If we're under the hole, that's absolutely fine. If we're long, there is trees just back of the green and then you're putting all the way downhill. So I'm going to suggest we go 5.
5 hybrid.
5 hybrid, it's downwind. If it lands a little bit short, it'll skip up and run up. So let's grab that, Dave. We'll use the right hand side of the tee. As we know from last week's episode of the series, Dave ball flight slightly moves left to right, so we're going to use the right hand side of the tee box. As a result, Dave can then aim for the left half of the green. If it fades to the middle. If it stays straight, it goes left side of the green. So Dave, it's on you. It's pretty good, not your best strike, but it's gone up the middle, ran up, yeah, just on the front of the green. So Dave, not your best strike off the tee,
no.
But because we used the right club and we didn't mind it running, it landed a little bit short and it's ran up and over, and it's ended up alright.
Yeah.
So we've got a good chance at a 2-putt, which is all
Hopefully.
we're really trying to do. So through your normal process, take your time, you're just off the green.
I know exactly what I did wrong.
Go on.
Cut straight across it.
So cut straight across it, the stroke went a little bit out on that one.
Yeah.
But we've left yourself a straight uphill 3-footer, so let's take a time. So 7th hole, we've got the fly over there. Dave's going to go with driver. Again, we're going to get him to use the right hand side of the tee box and aim down the left side of the fairway. As we know from the course management video, which is above now, we're able then to make it look a little bit wider. If Dave hits his normal shot shape, it's going to fall into the right rough, which is then playable. If we go down the middle and he pushes one right,
Like
middle of the tree, like last time, we're in trouble. So Dave, play away. Great shot, sliding right. That's it,
Okay.
kicked out nicely. Good job. So good drive there, Dave. We got a kick off the bank, but we've used the tee to our advantage. If you'd have aimed down the middle, unfortunately we'd been right next to where we would have been last time.
Some people say I'm luckiest golfer in the world.
Something like that. So here we've got 170 yards, the pin's tucked away back left. So here we know with Dave, can't carry it all the way back there, so we need to start to think about what's the smart play. The trouble are the bunkers. So if we go right half of the green, right side of the green, we've got all the green to work with. We can either chip or we can putt. Dave does get a shot on here, he would do. So 170 yards, Dave, similar to the last. 4 rescue, so we're going to go 4 rescue. Fairway, it's not wet now, it's dried out a little bit, so if it runs up, we're in the middle of the green and we should have a putt. So 4 rescue. Super shot, Dave. Good strike. Good bounce. There we go, on the fringe. It looks around about pin high, so very good shot.
Cheers.
So we've just gone up to the green now and we can see it's actually just ran through onto the fringe, or well, the semi-cut. So we're not on the fringe, on the semi. And again, this is the shot we're looking at. So very similar to the shot we had on the 3rd hole from last week. Dave would normally, he said he'd normally either putt this or use a 7-iron.
Yep.
We're going to go with hybrid, and we're going to use his 4 hybrid again. We've got a lot of green to work with here. The hybrid's going to get it moving forwards, no check. I'm going to be able to control that like a putting stroke. Is that your 4? Oh no, I meant 3. I've sold Dave down the river. I meant his 3 hybrid, the Maverick. So weight left. Very nice. Couple of feet past, good shot.
That.
So for those people who watched the first assessment of Dave, this was a funny hole for Dave because Arcos told him to hit a hybrid off the tee, even though it's a long par 4, hit a hybrid, and then when we got down there it changed for him from hitting another hybrid and then wedging on to hitting a 3-wood, and as we know he hit another great 3-wood,
world best,
to around about 10 feet and just missed the birdie putt. Today we're going to go with driver because I'm trying to get Dave to use his driver as much as possible and build some confidence, because to get the handicap down we're going to need his driver and as much distance as possible to get that towards a single figure handicap. One big thing here is we haven't gone through this hole in the course management, but this tee is a classic, what you might see on most of your golf courses, is the tee box is sending you straight towards the trees. So how many times I've played with people on here, they just go where the markers are, they aim up there and they hit it straight into the trees or into the thick rough. As a result, it then becomes a very difficult hole. They're either chipping out, costing them a shot, or hitting it out of the rough, topping in the rough. It becomes a long slog. So, making sure that you look where the tee box is pointing. With Dave again, we're going to use the right hand side of the tee box. We're actually going to aim just right of the bunker, so his fade should take it back to the middle. If he hits it straight, it will go just to the right of the bunker, and if he pulls it, he shouldn't reach that bunker because it's around about 240 yards. So, Dave, when you're ready. Great shot. So bullet straight, a little bit low, but middle stripe, running down there. Shot, Dave.
Happy with that?
So Dave, very similar position to when you hit the hybrid, really.
Yeah.
So
well, the tee were further back. So.
Tee's further back, so we've hit driver, it's come to the same spot. We've got around about 230 yards, so a similar shot. There's no real conversation to be had. 3-wood, left side of the green, and see where it finishes. Pins at the front again, so Dave's loving it. Another great strike, Dave.
Well, the dream is alive, you know.
Could reach. It's a little bit more softer today, so we'll see.
It's not got there.
Good shot. Okay, so like we said, it's not as hard as it was and as firm as it was last time we played. So 20 yards short, 30 yards short. What are you thinking from here?
I'm thinking pitch and wedge, bit of a chip and run.
Okay. So pitch and wedge. Get it up and out of there and get it moving forward. So I'm going to say we can play a similar shot to the last. So what I see time and time again is people with a pitching wedge, they don't quite catch it or they give it too much and it shoots past. We can still use a hybrid from here. The lie's okay. We can get that ball rolling. As soon as it's past this rough, we're going to be able to judge how it rolls on the fringe and onto the green. So, 3 hybrid, so your Maverick. Putting stroke. Let's see.
So, just past this fringe?
Yeah, if it just gets, it might even land in the fringe, but it'll still run out. So again, tour average from here is 12 feet. So even if we're on the green and we're putting, we've done a good job. But because this club is all bounce, we can't misstrike it, we can't catch it heavy. So you see with this club, we won't need to make much of a swing. Very small, just like a putting motion. We're going to go a little bit left of the flag. Good. In fact, very good. So a shot you'd probably like I say, never play again. Seems that he's mastered it slowly but surely. So he's hit 3 hybrids today. Total footage has been around about 5 feet. So it's a club that he'd never used from there. Probably one that you guys would never use. But we can see we can keep it a small, compact motion. As a result, we're going to guarantee a strike, guarantee going forwards, and can keep the momentum. Pitching wedge is not a bad club to use from here. I'm not saying I'm against a pitching wedge, but we can guarantee what kind of spin that's going to have. And if we can do that, hopefully.
Not a lob wedge then flying up.
Not a lob wedge, no, definitely not. So, tour average is around about 11.5 feet. Dave's here to 1.5 foot. He's not doing bad. Let's get it knocked in. So Dave, 9th hole here, obviously 2 over,
yeah,
5 pars in a row, which is not bad going for a 14 handicapper. Last hole, par 4, the wind's starting to pick up now, so we're going to be able to hit driver again, because that's the club for this hole. It's a long hole, so let's see what we can get out of here with. Yet again here with Dave, we're going to go to the right hand side of the tee box, and then we're going to aim just right of the telegraph pole in the distance. So if it hits it left, it's fine. If it fades as normal, middle of the fairway, and we're hitting to the green. So they've not your best drive there.
No, thinned it.
Yeah, well, thinned it, topped it, wasn't his best. That's sometimes what creeps back into Dave's game. So obviously that's what happens quite a bit, isn't it? And that's why Dave's handicap we saw in Arcos with his driver was 30 or 28,
yeah, 28
something.
30, depends.
So quite high up there. Good news is he made it past the ladies' tee, so don't worry. But we're in that thick rough again. So Dave normally would probably try and get his hybrid to this.
Try and take the 5 hybrid, yeah.
So we're going to go with the same as we did on the par 5. It's in the thick stuff. We're going to go with his first iron he's got in the bag, which is his 5 iron. So all we're trying to do here is get this back into play, give us a chance of being able to hit the green and play for that 5 now. We're not trying to get the 4, we're just trying to limit not getting a double bogey, because it's only 2 over to this point, so we want to keep it as low as we can. Good. So very thick lie there, that's come up nicely. Got a good distance, and we should have around about 140 in. Give the take. No, 160, sorry, I'm lying. 170 here, Dave. So, things we need to start thinking about here when I approach it. The wind's off the right, slightly hurting, so it's into the face. And we're then going to be hitting down into the green. So 170, probably playing close to 180, so we're going to go with his 180 club. Good strike, a little bit right.
Yeah, a bit right.
Good distance though. Just short and right, Dave, but a reasonable chip now. It's an uphill chip, so it's the best place to miss. So what club are you thinking here?
Well, I think there's too much of this semi-rough to go over for the hybrid.
Yep, I agree.
So I'm thinking pitching wedge.
Thinking pitching wedge? Okay, perfect. So let's go pitching wedge. Same setup. So the setup even with the hybrid didn't change. We kept that stance nice and narrow. So let's try and get up and down and out of here with a bogey for 3 over. Chip, every chance. Super shot.
Not bad at all.
So here's Dave Harrison with his Dave Harrison golf ball, putting for a bogey for 3 over.
Survived Scotland.
Well, it did. one of them that survived.
One of the few.
There were a few casualties along the way. Good putt. So Dave, as always, thank you for a nice early start, 7 o'clock. Very good, so that's the second assessment. So we've done a little bit of work with Dave's game. We've done some chipping, we've done some putting. We've given him a putter fit, which he putted pretty well today, holds some good putts, especially the short putts, didn't miss any of the short putts. And as a result, we've got a round in 3 over, so we've saved 4 shots, this was 7 over last time. We've played off the white, so it has played longer, and the wind did pick up at the end. But what's the biggest thing that you've got from today, Dave?
Two things. One was using the hybrid just for chipping, and I gained a bit more confidence with my driver, although it was still a bit wayward. 3 things in fact. Me, like I said earlier, my approach play with me longer irons needs some work. Yeah,
so Dave's picked up hitting his driver is going to help him build some confidence, but using the tee box to his advantage has helped him be able to trust where that ball's going to start. And if he does miss one a little bit right, because he's aimed correctly off the tee, he's going to be able to leave himself with a shot, which we found a few times out there. Then the rescue around the edge of the greens, even from 30-40 yards, how it can be something that's used. It's going to roll more, it's going to be more consistent. Again, if he was going to throw a ball, you'd throw it that way as opposed to trying to get it to stop, land, spin, check.
Not what James says.
Not what James says, but that's why James loses every week on a regular basis. Other than that, another thing that the biggest thing that I wanted to point out today was hitting shots out of the thick rough. Instead of going to the hybrid, and we've just talked about that, so going down the last, they're now called hybrids, whereas before, back in the day, even when I was playing, they were called rescues, and everybody would use them from everywhere. Oh, I'm in the rough, I have to use my rescue. I'm in a tree, I'm going to use my rescue. I'm in a thicker cabbage, I'm going to use a rescue. Not always is it the club to use. If it's sat up nicely on the top, yes, you're going to be able to get a good contact. If it's sat down, we need more of an angle of attack and we need more of a sharper leading edge, so we would go to a long iron. So Dave's going to fill his stats in, he's going to see what handicap he's given with his clubs again. We'll start to see. I think the next thing we're going to look at is we're going to show you a full swing lesson just with his driver. So we're going to get some numbers on TrackMan, start to see why Dave's losing distance, where he's losing it, and if we can gain him an extra 20 yards. I'm not a big advocate of gaining more distance, but Dave is losing there. We know that from his handicap, and if we want to get him to single figures, we're going to need to improve on that.
His strokes gained on driver show that.
Yeah, and his strokes gained as there shows that he's losing consistently every single round, so we need to start to turn that around. So hopefully you've enjoyed, guys. Comment below anything you want to see. We're going to be driving next week. Obviously, as the series goes on into the winter, we're going to start to have some matches, hopefully against James Robinson and
he's running scared.
Spriggsy, but we've had no response. James is busy, living life on the edge. Other than that, thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.